Chloe was telling him what to eat, who to socialize with. Bob even let her sit in on business meetings. Family was very concerned.
Did you do anything to address these concerns?
I hired a private investigator to look into her. He confirmed everything that I had feared. Gave me a sizable file on her troubling past.
Did you share this information with Mr. Gladstone?
Yes, I showed him what was in the file on my phone at the rehearsal dinner.
Your Honor, we move to admit the investigative file into evidence.
Objection?
We would have moved to admit this evidence sooner, but we've only just been able to authenticate the contents of this entire file. It is quite extensive.
Our objection still stands. The contents of this file are irrelevant and reinforce sexist stereotypes.
We're not doing this in front of the jury. My chambers. Now.
The jury is entitled to know the circumstances leading to Mr. Gladstone's death.
Andrews versus White. The Supreme Court just overturned a murder conviction because the prosecutor mentioned the defendant's sex life. The photos in this file go far beyond that.
These images are quite suggestive.
The evidence in Andrews was offered solely for the purpose of character assassination. That is not what's happening here. Mr. Nestor showed these images to Mr. Gladstone, who intended to confront the defendant, and hours later he was murdered. It goes directly to motive.
No, this is not about motive. This is a veiled attempt to humiliate my client in front of the jury. This is prejudicial beyond reason.
We are using it to show what Mr. Gladstone knew, how it influenced his actions before his death. It's central to our case.
No doubt these images are prejudicial, but I find them relevant to establishing the prosecution's theory. You may show them to the jury, Mr. Price.
What did Mr. Gladstone say after you showed him this file?
He told me he was going to confront her and end the relationship.
And how would that affect the defendant financially?
Well, if he left her, she'd get nothing. Didn't matter they had already married in Vegas months ago. Even without a prenup, they weren't married long enough for her to claim anything was marital property.
Thank you, Mr. Nestor.
Are you aware that my client told Bob all about her past, everything that was in those files and more a few months after they met, and that he forgave her?
Well, if that's what she told you, she must be lying, because...
Objection, Your Honor. This line of questioning lacks foundation.
We'll have several witnesses testify to learning about these conversations between my client and the victim when we present our case, Judge.
Overruled, but move it along.
Let's talk about lying. Do you recall your last performance review at Gladstone Toys? The one that Bob wrote. Let me refresh your memory. The defense presents Exhibit 12. If you would please read aloud just the lines that summarize your performance.
Derek is untrustworthy and inept. He cannot be relied upon to manage his team effectively.
That must have been humiliating.
Bob had exacting standards. I expected it. And as his son-in-law, he held me to a higher bar, always reminded me that hard work pays off.
But Chloe didn't have to work hard, did she? Bob used to invite her into the boardroom and ask her business advice in front of your longtime colleagues on matters that fell under your purview.
They were really minor things.
Yes or no? He asked her advice on decisions you should have made?
Yes, a few times.
Did that bother you? Turn you against her?
Seemed inappropriate, but it was Bob's company.
Did it bother you when you realized that Chloe was to inherit his estate?
Excuse me?
The only way that you and your wife would inherit Bob Gladstone's estate is if Chloe were convicted.
Objection.
So you have every reason to lie here today, because my client is the only thing standing between you and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Ms. Kimura, the objection is sustained.
No further questions for this witness.